Patrick, you're somewhere out in the North Dallas-Fort Worth area. So you there?
Yes, that's right. Eric, can you hear me?
I can. You're coming through loud and clear.
Yeah, I think there's a little delay here, but I am at the hotel reporting live from the Marriott.
It sounds like you're live. I don't know if you can back up from the microphone a little bit there, but boy, you're really coming across pretty good there.
Yes. All right. How about this? Does that sound better?
Okay, go in the middle between where you were and where you are now.
Okay. Well, I just can't make you happy no matter what, huh?
No. We just want to make sure that you're heard and loud and clear. I mean, it truly is. I mean, it sounds like you're doing a live radio broadcast from out in, the middle of wherever you might be. But it's good to have you. Kind of tell us really what's going on at the training workshop right now.
Well, we've got 20 very excited people here, and they are all on board. I just gave a session on intro to medical marketing, which basically gives an overview of what it is like to actually market to the healthcare field, and a lot of that information, of course, is based on information that I've gotten from our new partner, Dr. Vicki Rackner, who is a medical marketing guru, an expert, a lady who's been teaching and helping other business people on how to engage with doctors, and now she's helping our licensees exclusively for the medical billing field.
Exactly. I think we've had her on not too long ago. I think she's one of those webinars that we want people to go back and watch in our archived webinars. But folks, just go out there and Google or find Dr. Vicki Rackner on our site on American Business Systems, and you'll be able to find that in that whole blog area. But Patrick, today I know that this is really the heart, I guess, of what we really do here at American Business Systems, this whole week of training. So we wanted to kind of take today on our webinar and dissect it day by day as we kind of get started here. But before we do that, there was a couple of articles I know that you and I have gone over in the past, just within the last few weeks, but I thought they were very important to not forget about what's going on in the healthcare business, especially things that are going on with doctors. And the first one that you and I talked about was just a few weeks ago, because this article came out in Healthcare Finance News on January the 27th, and this is actually showing us a chart of where the healthcare spending dollars are going. So I'm sure you can see that on your screen there, and I think we can see the bulk of where everything's going is in between the hospitals and the physicians and the clinical areas there on this particular pie chart.
Yeah, this is such a huge pie, really. I mean, they don't talk about it here in this particular chart, but it is a $9.3 billion industry, and folks, all you need is a very small slice of that pie. And as Eric is showing there, the 20% there is a huge portion of that pie.
Exactly. It's over $6 billion in spending of what's happening just with the physicians and the clinics. And folks, this is our sweet spot, you want to say. This is where we're going after and helping those doctors there. So, out of all this huge pie here, which is over $1 trillion of spending, there's a good 20% of that is just for the physicians. Now, Patrick, you and I kind of laughed about this the other day when we were looking at this, and so many people ask us, well, what about dental billing? Why don't you reference that on that pie chart here?
Yeah, well, as you can see, it's the smallest slice on there. It's next to home health care. It's only 4% of the entire pie, which means, folks, that it's not a huge market, and there's no reason to spend time on that market when you've got a 20% slice that you can go after. I tell people, Eric, when they've signed up all the doctors in their area, if they want to go after dentists, we can show them how to do that, and they can do the billing for dentists too. But why start there when you've got such a huge market to go after in the medical?
Exactly. Yeah. So, folks, we want to not only on these webinars do we want to show you a little bit about what we do here at American Business Systems, but we're also keeping up with the trends of what's going on there because, again, we're helping our licensees on a daily basis. And I love this next article that came out in mid-January as well. And I know that you actually, or I think it was actually Adam, that brought this to our attention about the revenue cycle outsourcing to surge in the next 5 years. Patrick, what does that mean, revenue cycle outsourcing?
Well, first of all, doctors are either doing the billing in their own office using their own staff, in their own software, or they've already decided that it's better to outsource that, to give it to a billing company outside their office. And so what this article is saying, I mean, you'd think that we wrote this article, Eric, because you couldn't have anything better as far as the future of an industry than to say that the revenue cycle outsourcing is going to surge by 15% over the next 5 years. That's a tremendous growth in any industry. And it just means the pie is going to be that much bigger for our licensees.
Yeah, and I love what this last part of it down here where it says lacking platforms. And when we're talking platforms, we're talking about the medical billing platforms or the electronic medical records platform. And what this article goes on to say, it says that the lacking platforms to handle changes in billing, reimbursement, and collections, healthcare service providers, which are doctors, will continue to outsource to third-party vendors to avoid gaps and inefficiencies leading to the loss of revenue. And that's what our licensees become. They are the third-party vendors and helping rescue some of that lost revenue.
Yeah, like my book, Cash Crunch to Cash Flow, says, Eric, we basically help them to plug up those leaks, those gaps, those inefficiencies that come by having their staff do the billing and 24 other things as well.
Exactly. And I already see some questions coming in. Chris, I appreciate your question. We're going to get to that. Folks, we want to continue to encourage you to write in some questions, and we're going to get into that question on how the billing is done on a unique basis. So we'll talk about that here shortly. But again, Patrick, we want to really kind of just dive into more of a day-by-day what it looks like, a day-by-day schedule of what's really going on in that live training workshop. Now, I know that day one, everybody kind of gets there, and I know that we've kind of joked about this every single time, but you always ask the question of the audience that gets there, how many people thought that when you showed up at the hotel, you were just hoping that American Business Systems would
Yeah, I would be wondering as I stepped off the plane, what if I get to the hotel and they've never heard of American Business Systems? But you can verify that with the hotel here. It's the Marriott Suites, Spring Hill Suites out here near the DFW airport. And they will tell you that we've done this training here for the last, probably 4 years here. Right. But Eric, the reason we talk about the 5-day training changing people's lives is because we've actually had testimonials, emails from licensees who've told us, Patrick, thank you so much for this opportunity. It has changed my life.
Yeah, and that's come from folks that, have been in the corporate world for a long time, and you and I both been in the corporate world. You used to, prior to all this, you used to be a trainer for Apple computers and for the government, and I've been to training, I've taught training, and combined with all the other people that we have here at American Business Systems, we've kind of pulled the best of what we've all known about training and really crunched it into these 5 days, and I think that's what makes it unique here.
Eric, I think the evaluations that we have people do at the end of the week speak volumes, and we hear over and over again that some of the people in these training classes have been with IBM and General Motors and other large corporations, and they've never, ever seen training this thorough, this professional, and this fun and exciting. And I know that's hard to believe because it has to do with medical billing, but we make it fun.
Exactly. One question that did come in I want to get to because it kind of goes back with the question or something we mentioned earlier. Mark is asking, are you saying that only physicians that currently outsource their billing to a third party should be targeted? Patrick, what about that question? Is it just doctors that are currently outsourcing?
No, I'm sorry if we made that assumption there. Actually, our licensees are signing up doctors on both sides. That is, those who are doing the billing internally and those who already outsource it. In many cases, the ones who are already outsourcing their billing have already been educated. And the reason that our licensees can sign them up and take over the billing is because their current billers don't have the technology that we have, and they don't have the efficiency in doing what we train our people to do, as we'll see here through this webinar.
Exactly. So what we're going to do, let's talk about day one of the live training workshop. And again, folks, certainly when you get there day one, you're meeting everybody. We kind of go around, we introduce everyone. Patrick introduces everybody here at the staff of American Business Systems. We kind of lay out basically what you're about to learn here in these first 5 days. But the first thing, and you'll see up on the left-hand corner of this little screenshot here, we've kind of got things that we know that you just need to know. And so we say here at the very beginning, what you need to know are medical billing terminology. Now, Patrick, without trying to get too technical here and scaring away anybody about all these different things that we're seeing here on the screen, tell us why somebody can come in, no experience in medical billing, and really what happens in the transformation that actually happens first really on Monday morning.
Well, first of all, if people go back to our blog, like you mentioned earlier, Eric, and watch some of the interviews that I've done with licensees who've gone out and built this business, very few of them have had any background in the medical field, much less the actual billing. And those who do, of course, know some of these terminology already, but you're going to be amazed at how little you have to know. For example, there on the screen is the ICD codes. They're 9 right now, but the version 10 is about to come out this October. And you don't need to know about those codes, folks, because our system actually has all those codes built into it. So we make it as simple as possible for people without any background or experience or training in this field to get up to speed very quickly.
Exactly. So everything from what you see up there at the top, CMS, that just stands for the Center of Medicare and Medicaid Services. The other CPT stands for Current Procedural Terminologies. We go through all of this information. Now, certainly we don't go through all the codes because, again, you're not a coder, and you don't need to be a coder, and you're actually going to find out why here in just a moment when we get to that particular service. But really, on Monday morning, we actually start off with some of just the medical billing terminology. You just kind of get some of that going there. Then we start to get you ready to get in your mindset to know what it means to be a revenue cycle management company. Patrick, let's kind of talk about that, what this whole piece of this pie is talking about here.
Well, the revenue cycle in a doctor's office is something that they're all familiar with. That terminology, the revenue cycle, means every aspect of the practice that has revenue involved in it, from the insurance companies to Medicare, Medicaid, the patients themselves. All of that has to do with bringing money into the doctor's practice. Very vital that you stay on top of that in a doctor's office, or the practice, of course, could be in trouble financially very quickly. The problem is that, again, as I mentioned earlier, most of the staff in the doctor's office, they're involved in a dozen or 2 dozen other things in the doctor's office in addition to doing the revenue cycle management. So they don't really manage the revenue cycle. What they do is just bill the insurance companies and hope some of the money comes in.
Right. Isaac asked a great question. So, Patrick, you're saying that there's no need to either learn medical coding or have to have a license for that?
That's right. I know people find that hard to believe because there's websites out there that are touting the fact that you can take a course and learn how to do medical billing. Folks, if you were going to work inside of a doctor's office and they were looking for somebody with billing experience or training, of course that would be important. But when you're running your own business using our technology, all of that's built in, and you don't have to know those codes because, first of all, the doctor is the one that gives you the codes to bill, and if the codes are not correct, our system actually does some scrubbing and double-checking to make sure that the codes are maximized.
Exactly.
So, no, you don't have to know any of that.
and that's why we wanted to answer that question right here, Isaac, because what you need to know is that you're going to become as a certified medical revenue manager. Now, folks, that's completely different from what you just being as a medical biller and versus a medical coder. Patrick, talk about this whole terminology about being a certified medical revenue manager.
Well, what we do is we position people as the expert. This is what sets you apart from the competition. The competition is a medical biller or a medical billing company. You are certified as a medical revenue manager. That is, you actually have those 4 letters, CMRM, after your name on all of your literature and business cards, positioning yourself as somebody who knows how to manage the entire revenue in a medical office. Much different than just being a medical biller.
Exactly. So again, if you can start thinking Isaac and the rest of the folks that are on the call today, and even those that will listen to us a little bit later, start moving your brain and your mind from just being a medical biller. Certainly, you know that you're not going to be a medical coder. You're going to be certified as a certified medical revenue manager, and so that's huge here. Now, as we get through that first part of that morning, and we establish the medical terminology, and we go through what you're going to become by the end of the week, Patrick, the first thing we go into is iClaim. What in the world is iClaim?
Well, this is our branded version of technology that allows the licensee to go out and actually do the billing for the doctor using web-based or cloud-based technology. So literally from any computer or any tablet or any iPhone, as far as that's concerned, smartphone, that's connected to the internet, you can access and do the billing for the doctors. So it is our practice management system, it's called, which means it runs the entire practice and as far as the financials are concerned.
And Chris, going back to your question, you asked the question, is the billing done on a unique billing number or platform, or a fee for service on the physician's numbers, or both? And I think what you're asking truly is the system in and of itself unique? And it is unique. One of the ways it's unique is because we own our own clearinghouse. Now, again, not to get into the details about what a clearinghouse is, we actually have previous webinars that you can kind of go back and understand that, or simply call us here at American Business Systems. We'll happily take you through a demonstration of it and explain what we're talking about here right now. But it is unique in the sense that you're able, as Patrick has just said, run this piece of software, which is actually a software as a service, right from your laptop, from your dashboard in your home, or whatever computer system that you're using, right there, and you're going to have all of the updates that come with it automatically. I think, Patrick, some people have asked me here just recently about, can you talk to us about how we know as a licensee whether we're getting the latest and greatest updates through iClaim?
Well, that's the neat thing about the cloud. When you log in, and you're literally just going to any browser on any platform, PC or Mac, and you're logging into a website with your secure data credentials. Once you've logged in, you are looking at the latest version. So, Eric, let's say we did an update tonight. The first thing in the morning when people log in, they are using the latest version. There is no downloading of software, shipping you a CD, installing it some way on your computer. This is all cloud-based. So as long as you can connect to the internet through a browser, you are using the latest version.
It was funny. I remember one day whenever we were up there teaching a training class, from one time when we logged in to the next day when we logged in, there was something brand new on there. It kind of threw us all for a loop, thinking, what just happened here? So we literally get surprised a lot of times just because of the new updates. But Patrick, you remember back in the Stone Age whenever you had to kind of chisel out that piece of paper there that we're showing here to the left. That's called a CMS 1500 form, folks. That's the old paper version of filing a claim. Talk to us about what this system does versus what you used to do on a piece of paper.
Well, when my wife Linda started doing the medical billing for doctors back in 1987, this is all there was, a piece of paper. You literally put it in a typewriter and you filled it out and you dropped it in the mail to the insurance companies to get paid. So this form is now done completely electronically. There is no paper involved at all. Even the data that you get from the doctor can be totally electronic. And so when you put in the data, you're putting in the data that would actually go on this form if it were a paper form. So it's not a whole lot of data, as you can see. That could be filled out in probably 5 minutes by anybody, no matter how fast the typists they are. And you push a button, and literally that is sent electronically in real time directly to the clearinghouse, through our clearinghouse, to the payers.
Exactly. And folks, if you're a little nervous about this, trying to transfer all these codes and these names and everything, we actually give you hands-on training day one, Patrick. I mean, this is one of the things, I think one of the key things that we changed about a year ago. We used to have hands-on training towards the middle part of the week, but we really found out that a lot of folks, they really wanted to do it up front, and we kind of did that in so we can move on to the other real important areas where let's get your first client. So day one, you get to fill in a patient intake form, and then as you see over on the other side, that other piece of paper that's called a super bill. You and your partner, or we team you up with somebody that you may not even know there, and you actually going to go through and put this information directly into iClaim.
Yeah, when I started teaching today, Eric, I asked the class about their experience there on Monday when they actually did some, they actually, put in some patient data, they put in some super bills from the doctor, and actually did some fake claims, and they all agreed that it's not that big a deal. This is the scariest part, though, for some people, Eric, especially if they're not familiar with using a computer. But folks, this is literally like filling in a form. On your screen, you literally fill in the form from the information that's given to you from the doctor, and you push a button. I mean, it's just that simple. It's we get that out of the way on first day one, so people don't think of it as any kind of major obstacle learning the software.
Exactly, and then folks, throughout the week, you have other opportunities to do some more hands-on. So, basically, day one, we are working you through getting you familiar with medical terminologies. We're making sure that you get your hands in and on the system. We kind of work with you through all the different things on day one. So, basically, Patrick, that we have just completed Monday, day one of the live training workshop.
Yeah, it sounds like it's simple, but actually, folks, it is simple. It's just that we condense it and make it in such a way that you can absorb it, retain it. We have lots of notes, and of course, as you know, Eric, we have all of this recorded on DVDs that people can take home with them.
Exactly. Matter of fact, at the end of day one, when we get through showing everybody the hands-on portion of iClaim, actually getting into it, we actually move into day two. And we move in from iClaim now. We're going to start the first morning there with any questions and answers. So, folks, each morning on the next day, we go through a Q&A time, just so that because it's hard to grasp. Sometimes a lot of people say it's kind of like drinking, from a fire hydrant, trying to get a drink of water from a fire hydrant. So we really make sure that everything gets your questions gets answered on a day-by-day basis. But as we kind of wrap up that end of day one with iClaim, we start immediately the next day on EMRX. Now, Patrick, what is EMR first of all?
Well, as you know, Eric, the government is requiring all doctors to move electronically, all the records for patients to move them electronically. To do that, they have to use a system called an electronic medical record system. Thus, we call ours EMRX. Sometimes referred to as an electronic health record system. But basically, it's all the data pertaining to the patient. Now, the nice thing is that we have a built-in electronic medical record system to our iClaim system called EMRX that the doctor can use on any device, including computers, of course, iPads, and so forth, and do all of his encounters with the patients on that device.
Exactly, and the great thing about the whole EMRX portion of it, and I think one of what I think we've known from the past, Patrick, what we used to do, this is nothing again that nobody has to load on their computers. It's simply a login, and it's a web-based system, and again, this is how the doctor's going to see their patients. So what we saw on the iClaim side, which is the practice management side. That's what's going on for that practice and setting up the patient demographics and the scheduler. And you as the billing company, that's what you're going to work from, of actually doing the billing from. But here on the doctor side, this is the EMR, electronic medical records. This is how they're going to do that. Then through that particular morning, not only do you get the introduction to EMRX, but this is great, Patrick, because this is where we get to do what I think our first demonstration to that particular group of new licensees. One of the greatest support mechanisms that we have here at American Business Systems, and that's this in-class demo through our GoToMeeting platform.
Yeah, we do that because we want the licensees in the classroom to actually get a feel for what it will be like when we do the demo of our system for their prospective clients. That's right. One of the things that makes our licensees stand out in the marketplace is the doctors like to see the latest technology. Well, we can show it to them and literally blow them away, can't we, Eric?
Exactly. I mean, we're here to help answer every single question that doctor could have for their particular practice. And then what we'll do as we kind of wrap up this whole section here, because again, we take questions and answers from you, but we actually do it not live, but we actually do it in the format of a GoToMeeting. Again, so you kind of get the experience of what it looks like and how it feels like, and the reason that we want that there. But you're probably thinking about, how am I going to get that done? Well, folks, what we have here on our licensee support site, we're actually showing you where you would need to go to sign up to to request a free demo and consultation for your prospective client yourself. You can see here, you're going to put in your name, your business name, the name of the practice, the contact information, and then we get all that set up, and then you give us a couple of dates, and we get that set up as well. So, Patrick, this is just, again, basically a lot of people ask us what separates us from the competition. I have to say two things, mainly our clearinghouse and then what we do here on these demos.
Yeah, the live demos is probably the thing that most people are surprised that we are able to do. The reason we are able to do these and want to do them for our licensees is because this is where the rubber meets the road, right? This is where the doctor actually makes the decision to move forward or not with the proposal that the licensee has given to them. So we're going to teach people how to get that proposal in front of the doctor, set up the live demo, let us do the demonstration for the doctor, answering all their questions. And Eric, the last question the doctor sometimes asks is, well, how do I get started?
How do I get started, or how much is it? And that's where we kind of turn it right back over to you. And again, we're going to show that to you here in just a second about how you get that. Before we move on, Wendell, you've got a great question here, and you're asking about our electronic medical records platform here. And Wendell's asking the question, does the system, or is the system ready for the October new ICD-10 codes? Patrick, you want to answer that one?
Well, the answer is no, it's not going to be ready. It is ready and has been since last October 1st. All of the ICD-10 codes are in our system right now, and in fact, the doctor can give you an ICD-9 code, and you can look it up and tell him what the ICD-10 code is going to need to be on October 1st of this year.
Exactly. We actually demonstrated that yesterday in showing that to this particular class. So, Wendell, that's a great question for you to. This
is where we get some of the oohs and ahs and wows from the doctor.
Exactly. All right, so folks, we've taken you through Monday and basically all through the way to Tuesday. Now, day 3, this is where everything starts coming together, especially on the marketing strategies. And Patrick, you kind of kicked all this off today. So again, kind of just share with us a little bit again about what you shared with the group of licensees today on getting this whole marketing strategies things kicked off.
Well, marketing to doctors is completely different, Eric, than any other type of marketing. If you've been in business before, think you know something about selling or marketing, believe me, you don't know what it takes to market to doctors unless you've marketed to doctors, of course. There are some very unique things about doctors that we bring out in the training. And then we go through each one of the methods or strategies that we've come up with to get past the gatekeeper, to educate the doctor on what they're needing, to find out what their pain is, and to show them a proper proposal. Now, don't let all the different things on the screen here scare you or confuse you, folks. These are the different services that you'll be able to offer through American Business Systems to the doctor, but you don't really have to offer anything but the billing. So the iClaim is really the only thing that you have to know enough about to get started. Then you add all these other things as you wish and as you want to integrate them into your business.
Exactly. So we've already gone over through iClaim and EMRX, and what we're going to do right now is start diving into a couple of these that actually, Patrick, becomes a great door opener. I think because a lot of people, first of all, especially as becoming a brand new licensee, they automatically think, well, my goodness, what if a doctor already has their own billing system? Or what if a doctor already has their own electronic medical record system? Go ahead.
That's of course no problem, because even if they have their current system, we have licensees who can take over that system and do the billing, or let them continue using their electronic health record system and integrate that with iClaim. So there is no problem that the doctor already has something. Most of the doctors, in fact, have some sort of electronic health record system out there. Doesn't mean they're happy with it or that it's the latest technology.
Exactly. And so one of the ways that we try to help you get through the door, get through that gatekeeper, are going to be some of these other services. And this one and the next one that we're going to show you has to deal with the whole coding issue. And this is where I believe Isaac, or you were asking earlier about, you don't have to go through a coding school or become licensed in that particular area. CodeRight, Patrick, is one of those areas, one of the services that we have here that'll actually help drive business to our ABS licensees.
Yes, because even though you don't have to know anything about coding, that doesn't mean that the doctor might not have some questions about coding or be using codes that are not maximized for maximum revenue. So we have on staff over 100 certified professional coders that can do all of the research and answer those questions for you, and even review the doctor's current codes to make sure that they are what they need to be.
Yeah, so folks, I mean, all these codes can be electronically scanned in. They're all secure. They're all HIPAA compliant. And again, then you let our CPCers, which you see down there at the bottom, our certified professional coders, do the work for you. And then you get that back to the doctor and help them increase their cash flow in that area as well. But great, this is a good one here also, Patrick, about Audit Guard. I mean, we've got up here, you know, as an ABS licensee, on Wednesday, you're going to learn how to use this service to help get past the gatekeeper. What does this mean about Audit Guard and Medicare and all this here?
Well, every doctor that sees Medicare patients are under the microscope from Medicare, as it says there, and everything is done for you. We actually basically do a pre-audit on the doctor's practice by looking at some of the charts for the patients and see if there are places where Medicare might find the doctor. You see, if the doctor is using a code for a visit that's over-coding, he's trying to get more money for that visit than he should, Medicare can catch that and fine the doctor up to $10,000 per infraction. So, Eric, it mounts up real fast. The doctors love this because it's kind of like insurance against Medicare coming in and fining them. Not that it could, you can't guarantee that the government's going to do anything or not do anything, but it does show the due diligence that the doctor has done in trying to make sure that the codes are correct.
Exactly. So this is a great service here. And again, it's one of the services that can actually help get you past the gatekeeper. Now, this is a great one here because I know a lot of folks, and I think there's a gentleman in our class today that says, hey, I like to go after the old money. And this whole service about Quick Collect can be very helpful, because we even put up here that many practices have a hard enough time just collecting up on the front end. What about all the money that they're trying to get collected from past visits?
Yeah, most people don't realize that doctors only collect about half of all the money that they bill to patients. So yes, they can write that off on their taxes if they want to, but believe me, they'd rather have the money in their bank account. And this service acts in place of a collection agency. It's not a collection agency. You are doing something completely automated behind the scenes over the internet that goes in and collects this money from patients automatically. It's similar to a collection agent, but there's some major key differences here. Number one, you don't ever get on the phone with anybody, and you don't have to call and collect any money yourself. This is done through automation and technology. Exactly,
and so you can see here everything that we're pulling together creates that whole revenue cycle management, as we kind of said there in the very beginning. And now that times have changed, Patrick, and I know because of the Affordable Care Act, and I'm sure that I even heard some horror stories that's going on right now with the Affordable Care Act, the people that have gotten into that, and then now they owe more money back to the government because of some other things going on. So, I mean, now we've got individuals who have higher deductibles. Some people have moved from being insured, now they're cash pay. How are they going to go see a doctor if they can't maybe even have an opportunity to pay over time? I think this is one of the reasons we have Choice Pay as one of our solutions for that.
Yeah, because there's very few people that can afford, some big $700-800 bill from the doctor. So basically, ChoicePay allows the licensee to offer options for the patient to pay that out over a period of time automatically from their checking account or their credit card.
Yeah, and I believe I got a question earlier. Let me see. I think Tim, you asked a question earlier up in the webinar here, and you mentioned although dental is only 4% of the pie, is it worth to have them in your portfolio? To me, the great question about that is, or the best answer for that is, since we don't do through iClaim any billing for dental, Patrick, ChoicePay is one of those great solutions for dentists.
Yeah, in fact, several of these services we've mentioned already can be offered to other types of medical providers besides doctors. Like dentists can use the ChoicePay or the Auto Collect, for example. And there's one or two others that we have that you can offer outside the MD field.
Exactly.
But the nice thing is that you make money on all of these. And Eric, we've had licensees focus on some of these services and make a ton of money just offering these services. They're great door openers to get you in the door to talk about the billing, but in and of themselves, they can make you some money too.
But again, folks, what we're showing you here, we're not just trying to showcase just the different services, but we're showing you on day 3, Wednesday. This is what those folks that are in training class that Patrick's over there with right now, this is the information that they're going through, because now they're learning how to use something like iDocs right now to take all of the files that doctor has. And Patrick, you and I have actually been to some doctors where they're physically storing these charts and all these records in an examining room, which lessens the amount of rooms that doctor can actually use.
Yeah, they've got them stacked in boxes up and down the hallways. All sorts of HIPAA rules for patient privacy are broken by doing that, by the way. But the point is that they run out of room. They don't know what else to do. I've had doctors say that they store it in a shed out behind their backyard. There's all kinds of stuff there. But the problem is that real estate is very expensive. And so if you can move everything to the web, to the cloud, you can have everything stored there. You can search for it by keywords. It can never be lost because it's backed up on a continual basis. And it's a wonderful way to get all of that paper into electronic format.
Exactly. So, folks, again, with all these different services that we have that we go over on day 3, it positions you for what we're going to take forward with you on day 4 and then actually on day 5. So we're very systematic. Again, kind of just a quick review here. If you remember, day 1, we're just starting you off with all the new terminologies, getting you geared up, get your hands in on iClaim, get your hands in on EMRX on Tuesday, and then on Wednesday going through each one of these services very individually and showing you how to position yourself. When you leave that training workshop on Friday afternoon, you'll know what to go do when you leave that particular out for that next week. Now, as we get into day 4, now, folks, this is what these people that are going into training right now are looking forward to going through for tomorrow. So let's talk about this. I think one of the greatest ones here, Patrick, is the whole sales rep program.
Yeah, as part of our marketing, one of the tools that we put in your toolbox, so to speak, is the ability, if you don't have the time or the inclination to go out and do any marketing yourself, we'll show you how to find, hire, train, and pay sales reps on a pure commission basis.
Folks, a lot of people have built their business. I know that Cynthia, who is our instructor there today, she's used sales reps in the past. We've got a lot of our other licensees who have started part-time and use sales reps to kind of build their business. So this is a great thing to know, especially if your time is a little bit limited or you just want to utilize and leverage other sales reps. Now, the other great thing about this is not only do you got to learn how to use sales reps, but sometimes, Patrick, I think we can even talk about sales rep as not necessarily always being 100% commission on those sides, but they could literally become just more of a referral partner. You want to talk about how that actually works with someone who might be a sales rep for somebody else?
Yeah, so what we do is teach licensees to
form strategic partnerships with people, including sales reps that sell other products and services to doctors. And those sales reps can become referral partners, meaning they turn you on to a particular doctor, give you an introduction to a doctor, you go in and wrap up the deal, and then pay that sales rep a referral fee. Sometimes that can be hundreds of dollars, so it can be very profitable to somebody who's doing a referral just in their spare time.
Exactly. And then throughout the day, we're going to go in and start talking about the different things that you could actually be doing. Now, Patrick, we like some quick wins. And we like to know, how can I get myself in front of maybe a group of doctors, maybe not just one-on-one, but maybe in a group setting, maybe like through some of these business lunch and learns. You want to talk a little bit about that, how some of our licensees have built their business doing this?
Yeah, some people call it business networking. It's really just going out, as you can see here in these pictures, meeting with other business people and finding out what they do and making those strategic alliances with those people who sell to the same clients that you're selling to. Doctors in this case, and making those partnerships. The business lunch and learns are great, Eric, because you can set these up even with an individual doctor's office for him and his staff. You bring in lunch basically, and you make a presentation. We've already got those presentations worked out with the PowerPoints for you to present to them. And in 15 minutes, you can tell them about any one of your services or all of what you do from the billing standpoint, and educate them on what you can do to help them.
Exactly. Then we go into another section about trade show marketing. And Patrick, this is awesome in and of itself. You know, we've known licensees. You and I have gone out there and visited with some licensees that have actually utilized this trade show marketing. But as a licensee, you have access to utilize the equipment and the services and the marketing material that we all have, which includes this full booth, trade show marketing booth, and a tabletop marketing booth there. Patrick, this is, I think, whenever I look at the Google Calendar for for American Business Systems, I think I see this out every single week.
Yes, and you know why? It works. And it doesn't have to be a medical expo or trade show either, Eric. As you know, we've had this set up in all kinds of home shows, home and garden shows, anything that's out there where people are going around to look at different booths and things. This can be set up because doctors are just human beings, believe it or not, and they go to these things, auto shows, boat shows. They show up, and when they see your booth and it says that you can help them with their revenue cycle management, they leave their business cards.
Exactly, and what a great way to have the doctors actually come to you, engage them in a conversation, even if you just came out with one or two potential doctors that you can work with. Now, that's pretty much what we deal with on Thursday morning. Now going into Thursday afternoon, wow, this is when we really start doing some work. And now we're going to get into what we like to talk about, the consultative marketing. Folks, you know, I know, Patrick knows, none of us like to be sold. That's the biggest thing. Right, Patrick?
That's right, but we do like to deal with experts who can educate us on a product or service. You know, there's nothing more frustrating, Eric, to go into a retail store, maybe a computer store, electronic store, and you're asking questions about this product, and that person has not a clue about it. When they ask me if they can help me, I tell them, yes, you can go get a cup of coffee while I figure this out on my own. And so the consultative approach is one of going in and finding out where the pain is. And once you've found the pain, you can come back with a solution to that. So this practice analysis you're showing here on the screen, Eric, that is a questionnaire basically that you sit down with and ask questions like, is your current system server-based or web-based? You know, basic stuff that you need to know to be able to know how to make a proposal. How many claims do you do in a month's time, for example? What are you currently spending on your billing and so forth? There's over 40 questions, I think, now on that questionnaire, Eric. And when we get the questions to those answers to those questions and take them back and do the proposal, it comes back and sometimes blows them away.
And the reason why we teach this to you is, and we already know, we've been in this business long enough, we know one of the first questions that your potential doctor may ask you is, well, how much are you going to charge me to do for my billing? Because my cousin does it for X percentage, so can you beat that price?
Right.
Folks, we don't want you to go down that road. and we coach you, and part of what we teach you in the training is don't give back a percentage. It's kind of like, Patrick, you've heard me say this even with doctors on doing a demo. I've asked, the doctor will certainly ask, well, what are you going to charge me to take care of my billing? And I'll help that licensee say, you know what, doctor, let's kind of flip the pages here, or flip the table here. If I were to come in today and I said, look, I've got a pain in my right leg, doctor, what are you going to charge me to fix my pain? Well, the first thing they're going to ask me is, or tell me, I don't know what's wrong with you. Exactly.
Yep. Exactly. That's exactly why we could not tell somebody off the top of our head what we're going to charge them. But, folks, it does vary. It depends on the circumstances, the volume of claims, what their current circumstances are as to what you're going to charge. But that's one of the reasons why, as a licensee, you have our lifetime support to help you with making those suggestions. That's all we do is suggest what you should be charging to that particular doctor. And we can help you with that pricing so that you don't leave money on the table.
So what we're going to do on day 4, we're actually going to work with you going through a real practice analysis with real information that we've actually gotten back from a lot of our licensees. You're going to fill all this information in. And then on the right-hand side, you see that there's what's called a practice revenue report. Now, I'm going to explode that up a little bit more. And, Patrick, I want you to kind of talk through this real quickly, because this really is this is the winning aspect of our business right here.
Yeah, so from that practice analysis, you've got all the data that you need to plug in the numbers that you see here. And we go through this in our class step by step to explain it to you exactly why you're putting the numbers in and what they could be when you ask those questions. Once the numbers are plugged in, and not all of them are numbers you have to fill in, of course, some of it is calculations that are done behind the scenes in the spreadsheet. The numbers actually come up with the bottom line. So look down at the projected income here. The rejection rate right now is going to be 2%. I think up above there it's 18% or something like that. So we can get it down to, remember, 2% or 3%, and then the monthly revenue increase. We show that to the doctor. Look at the difference here, guys. In this typical example, we can increase their monthly practice revenue by $158,000. I have to zoom in to see that on my iPhone here.
Yeah. What you're seeing here is the bottom line here is a monthly revenue increase of about 20%. I mean, that's huge. Now, one thing you don't see on here is how much you're going to charge the doctor. That is actually built into what they get back from these numbers here. So the total monthly cost of outsourcing, there it is at $10,089. That's already taken into consideration of already what you're going to be charging that doctor to do their outsourcing of it right there. But you can see that they're going to actually have an increase of revenue per month and over per year. So that's why we want you to wait and not say that number of how much you're going to charge that doctor there.
Yeah, now that percentage, of course, has to be in your agreement that the doctor signs, so it is outlined for them specifically there, and you can certainly tell them if they ask. But here's the reason we don't show that on this particular report, because that is not what's important. All that should be important to the doctor is we're going to bring you in an additional $26,383 a month. Interested or not?
Exactly.
Well, what are you going to charge me? Well, as you can see, I'm not really charging you anything if I'm bringing you more money in than you're bringing in now. So it's irrelevant, and that's why we sign up so many doctors, because the bottom line is the bottom line.
Exactly. And then once you have all of that information, what you're going to do, you're going to take that practice analysis along with this report, along with your proposal, put it in the proposal manual or the proposal folder that we have here already set for you. And again, we kind of coach you through that during the day 4 here during training. And this is what you're actually going to get ready to present back to the doctor. And we actually have some role-playing times where we actually do that between one another in that particular training class.
Yeah, we're only showing a couple of pages there for this illustration, but proposal could be 7, 8, 10 pages long. We go through that step by step with you. We provide templates that all you do is go in and take out the things that you don't want to offer to the doctor, plug in a few numbers there along with our help and our review with you, and boom, you have a very professional looking proposal and a very professional looking presentation folder along with your professionally designed flyers. And guys, it makes a huge impact on the doctor when they see that bottom line.
David's got a great question. What if they want a breakdown of the total monthly cost of outsourcing? That's what Patrick just mentioned there, David. Actually in the proposal, that's where we give a complete addendum of a line-by-line service of what everything's costing that particular doctor, so that they know. We don't want to try to keep anything hidden from them. However, what we want to do is get them off that line of saying, what are you going to charge me to do the billing? We actually want to show them what we're actually helping them gain. And then lastly, on day 5, this is what's going to happen here. And again, as Patrick and I have already mentioned earlier, this is, again, where we go in a little bit more detail about this whole demonstration marketing campaign that we actually do. And this is where you will work with your doctor, whether you're there in their office or if you're at home. Certainly, we have licensees, Patrick, all over the country, so they're certainly not going to be able to fly from Florida to California. The whole internet is giving us the opportunity to market directly to the doctors for our licensees.
Yeah, just like this technology we're using here to bring you this live webinar today, we do that same thing with your doctor. Again, we are on the line, as you can see in the bottom right-hand corner. There's the doctor watching this on his computer. You could be, with your spouse up there looking at the presentation from your computer, and then on the left there is us and our staff actually doing that demonstration and answering all those questions that the doctor might ask.
Exactly. And then, as we kind of start wrapping up everything, you need to know what you need for your continual development. And that's why we have the American Business Systems community of support. And, folks, you've got not only ABS here corporate, but then we've got linked together with you from coast to coast licensees that have already been there, done that, and want to help out as well. So this network of support is huge for your continual development.
And let me just point out, Eric, that this is lifetime support. It's included in your license fee. You never pay another dime for this support, folks. We're continuing to do webinars. We've got one scheduled for next Friday that's on for our licensees that is completely free of charge. You can attend it. You can have your staff attendant, your sales reps. This is all done at no additional cost forever, as long as you're an ABS licensee.
Exactly. And then the continual development that you need is on our licensee support site. We have just done a complete overhaul on our licensee support site. We've added more information. We keep up with the news on there as well. This is where you get all the information, as Patrick said, about all the different services, about how you can actually, or some ways that you can contact support, whether it's through email, phone call, or through a live chat. But then, as Patrick just said, we have special webinars that we do for our licensees. And Patrick, I think this is one of the latest ones we just did. We did this one with Dr. Rachner. And folks, you think some of these webinars are great. The ones that we actually do for our licensees are the ones that it goes beyond just 5 days of training.
Yeah, we try to give you on these webinars for people looking into our business as much information as we can. And we try not to hold back anything. But, guys, we're limited because, again, not having gone through our training yet, you really don't understand and comprehend all that you will after you've gone through that training. And once you have, these webinars will just open your eyes on a continual basis. We're motivating, we're encouraging, we're continuing to educate you on all the different aspects of this industry because it is a changing industry and you need to keep up with it. We're the company that can help you do that.
Well, folks and Patrick, we are really right up at the top of the hour, and we've just kind of landed on our last screenshot here of what we want to kind of wrap up here. So, folks, this is how we can take 5 days and hopefully truly change your life. And as Patrick mentioned earlier, there have been people that have come in through here and have literally said, man, that was the best set of training. I enjoyed myself, but I've just learned a tremendous amount of information. So we certainly want you to come by and learn more about us. And so, Patrick, if you got a little bit of time here, let's just maybe make sure that we didn't miss any questions here.
Sure.
Just a little bit of overtime here. So, folks, if you don't mind sticking around, we're going to keep going here and just make sure that we've got through all these different questions here. So, Patrick, if you'll kind of start at the top, and I'll kind of look through here to see if there was anything that we've actually missed here. Let's see. I think we got that one there. Let's see. Here's one about what about geographical limitations for an American Business Systems licensee? What about the different regions, Patrick?
That's the great thing about the way we've set up our company. Our model is that we license the use of our systems to people who join us. It's not a franchise. Franchises have territories, and so you are limited geographically as to where you can market. Folks, with us, there is no territory other than, well, I guess it's the United States, and that's your only limitation. You literally can have clients all over the country, and we do have licensees that have clients everywhere, some of them in several states, because once you've signed up a doctor and done a good job for a doctor locally, that doctor probably knows other doctors, and they're probably in other states, so it does not matter. There are no territorial restrictions.
There you go. And then Wendell is asking, he actually asked two questions back to back, and I'll answer both of those. And so he's asking, so you guys do the demos for us. We do every single demo. I've got one scheduled tomorrow for a licensee that is out of the Illinois area. And so I've got that one scheduled for that particular licensee.
Eric does some of these, but we also have 5 other people who are dedicated to our licensees doing those demos every day.
And then let's see, does your EMR have e-prescribe in it for the pharmacies? Absolutely, Wendell. It certainly does. All right, let's see if there are any questions there. Patrick, are you kind of looking through?
Sorry, I can't see those here on my iPhone. It doesn't let me do that. I guess I'm not an organizer. I'm probably just a panelist.
Fine.
But
okay.
Let me just mention this. The e-prescribe is a pretty neat thing. It tracks all of the records, anything that's been prescribed for that patient through any system that's electronic prescriptions. Will be tracked inside our system. So it's pretty cool. The doctor just clicks a button or two, and boom, it goes right to the person's pharmacy, and is probably waiting for them before they even leave the doctor's office.
I'm going to go through 2 more questions. There's some more questions here that we'll certainly be able to answer, and we can answer that off of the webinar here. But Chris, you asked a question, is the service for CMS patients or also for private insurance reimbursements as well? It's for all payers, whether it's government or commercial. It's for all payers across the board. And then lastly, Landy is asking about the trade show billboard. Is it do the licensees pay to use the trade show billboard? Is it basically first come, first serve? The answer to your second question is yes, first come, first serve, because there's only one of them that we actually do that. And basically on the use of it, you're just paying a very, very minimal amount. And basically, it's just the shipping and handling back and forth from our office to where you're using it at. Okay, let's talk real quickly as we kind of wrap up things here. Our next training class is again in April the 13th through the 17th. There's our number here at the bottom. However, before we let you go, we want to let you know there's about 10 seats available for that April training class. We already know that we've had to move people from our March class already to our April class, and so we've already got this class pretty much full or half full over there as well. But before Patrick has to leave, Patrick, let's talk about your 100% money back guarantee that you offer for our licensees here.
Yeah, this was a hard one for people to wrap their brain around, Eric, because when we first started doing this, people said, well, you're going to go out of business because people will come down to your training, they go through the whole thing, and then they can get their money back. All of a sudden, nobody's going to
stay with you. But, folks, we've only had that happen three times, I think, in the whole 20 years we've been in business. But the point is, guys, that we know what we have, and when people go through this training, they are blown away by it, and they certainly don't want their money back. In fact, I've had people, Eric, offer to pay me more money. They've told me, Patrick, you've undercharged for this. This should be more money. Not that anybody's given me any more money, but the point is they know that it's worth that, and they stay with us, and they go out to be very successful and make lots of money themselves.
Exactly. So you can read this as word for word in our purchase agreement. So if you haven't gotten our purchase agreement, you want to review it, just ask the person that's helped you get here to the webinar, which would be one of our ABS licensee reps here. So we'll certainly be able to help you with that. Again, we want to remind you to go back to our website. Under blog, under news, underneath blog, you'll find all of our archived webinars. This one will be archived as well, so if you'd like to have a partner or a spouse listen to today's webinar, you can go back and listen to it. You'll have that in your email inbox probably tomorrow. And again, we wrap up here with again with our training workshop dates of April the 13th through the 17th, just a little over 6 weeks away from here. Give us a call here at 866-565-8413. Patrick, send us out with some good news here from the training workshop where you are right now.
Well, the good news is that everybody here, when I got up and did the intro to marketing at the end, just about every single person came up to me afterwards and says, Patrick, that one session right there was worth the $25,000, because when we tell you what we've learned over the last 20 years about marketing to doctors, guys, it's going to give you such insight. We've had people who own their own medical billing company come to this training and say, I never realized that it was as simple as you guys make it in going out and building your business.
Thanks,
So
Patrick.
they're pretty pumped up. In fact, the next training, I think, is filling up pretty quickly, Eric. I know we say that all the time on these webinars, but it's not like we're just trying to close people or get people to make a decision, because, guys, this is your decision to make. It may not be the right business for you. Do some research. Find out if it is. If it is, just continue to come to these webinars until you've basically sold yourself on the fact that you need to get down here to one of these training sessions. Since you can get your money back at the end of the training session, what have you got to lose?
Exactly. Folks, again, thank you for attending today. Again, we'll have this webinar up on our blog there under the other archived webinars. Please go back out there and look for it. And if not, join us next Wednesday. We'll be happy to have you here. Patrick, thank you for taking some of your time out. Now go back over there and start working with those new licensees.
Can't wait. Bye for now.
Bye-bye. See you later.